Hi guys, my name is Sakong and I'm excited to be your Algebra 1 tutor. There will be a brief introduction and we will move on to our lesson. To start with, why is Algebra 1 important? It is one of the most important foundational courses in mathematics. It introduces the fundamental concepts of variables, equations, and functions. And it is vital for upper-level math courses such as Algebra 2 and Geometry. Also, Algebra 1 teaches students how to think logically and systematically approach problems. Solving algebraic equations requires all crucial problem-solving skills, such as understanding relationships, analyzing situations, and finding patterns. Lastly, Algebra 1 concepts are tested in high school and college entrance exams, such as ACT and ACT. Mastering Algebra 1 is crucial for doing well on these tests, which can influence future educational opportunities. Algebra 1 can seem challenging at first, but with the right approach you can understand the logic behind the problems and learn how to break them down step by step. We'll take everything one step at a time. I believe having a solid understanding of the basics like variables, expressions, and equations is the key to success in Algebra 1. Once we're comfortable with the fundamentals, we can move on to more complex topics like solving equations, working with graphs, and exploring functions. Now we will start our first lesson. In today's video, we'll learn about variables, expressions, equations, order of operations, and evaluating expressions. So variables. They are letters used to represent unspecified numbers or values. Any letter could be used as a variable. For example, in the algebraic expression 7y, the letter y is called a variable, and in 5s minus 4, the letter s is called a variable. Algebraic expression. Expressions consist of numbers, values, and operations. An algebraic expression is an expression that includes at least one variable. Here are some examples of algebraic expressions. There are several ways to represent a product between numbers. And all these three expressions mean 5 times n. Same with this one, both of these expressions mean 14 divided by y. Next, equation. An equation is a mathematical sentence formed by placing the symbol equal sign between two expressions. This here, with an equal sign between two expressions of 14x plus 2 and 7, could be an equation. Order of operation. It is a set of rules that tells us what math operations to do first in an expression. So in order to evaluate an expression, you should follow the order of operations. Step 1. Evaluate the expression inside grouping symbols. Here, the grouping symbols mean parentheses, brackets, and braces. Any expression appearing within grouping symbols must be evaluated first. Step 2. Evaluate powers. For example, fix 5 squared to 25. Step 3. Multiply and divide from left to right. And lastly, in step 4, add and subtract from left to right. One additional thing, fraction bars. A fraction bar can act as a grouping symbol. Evaluate the numerator and denominator before you divide. So a over b could be changed to a divided by b. Let's move on to examples. So here's an example of evaluating an expression following the order of operations. First, we have to evaluate the expression inside a grouping symbol. But there are no grouping symbols, so we are going to skip this. Step 2. We have to evaluate the powers. Here is 3 squared, and we can fix this to 9. Step 3. Multiply and divide from left to right. So in order from left to right, we could do 27 divided by 9 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. Lastly, add and subtract from left to right. Since we have 6 minus 5, we can just subtract, which becomes 1. So if we evaluate this expression, it becomes 1. I have another example here. It is an example of evaluating expressions with grouping symbols. So for A, you solve the expression 4 minus 6 first since it is in parentheses. 4 minus 6 is negative 2, so if you do 8 times negative 2, the answer is negative 16. For B, we have to solve an expression in parentheses, but since there is 3 squared in the expression, we evaluate the power first to solve the expression in parentheses. So 3 squared is 9. And if you add within parentheses, the expression becomes 27 minus 16. Then if you subtract, the answer is 11. C is an expression with a fraction bar. As I said before, a fraction bar can act as a grouping symbol. 9 plus 1 over 6 minus 1 could be changed to this expression. Then, if you add and subtract within parentheses, the expression becomes 10 divided by 5, which equals 2. This is the last one. It is an example of evaluating an algebraic expression. First of all, you substitute 1 for y. Then all the y's become 1. If we follow the order of operations, we have to evaluate expression inside grouping symbols. Since there is 1 plus 2 in the parentheses, we evaluate this into 3. And if we multiply 3 and 3, it becomes 9, and 3 times 1 equals 3. Finally, if we do 9 divided by 3, the answer is 3. Now that wraps up our first Algebra 1 lesson. Today, we covered the basic concepts of algebra, including variables, expressions, equations, order of operations, and evaluating expressions. These ideas are the basics for everything else we will be learning. So make sure you understand them well. Keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next lesson.